Buying the right F-150 is tougher than people think. One wrong trim, engine, or year, and you're stuck with repairs that bleed you dry. Hi, I'm RJ. I've spent over 20 years working on Fords, from old Rangers to the newest F-150s. I've seen trucks that run past 300,000 miles and the ones that should have stayed on the dealership floor. If I were buying an F-150 today, I know exactly what I'd choose. In the next few minutes, I'll break down the real do's and don'ts, so you avoid expensive mistakes. Whether you're shopping used or judging your current truck, this is a buyer's guide that could save you thousands. The best F-150 model years to buy. If I were shopping for a Ford F-150 that balances reliability, modern features, and value, my first choice would be between the 2018 and 2020 model years. These trucks were part of the first wave that came out with Ford's 10-speed automatic transmission and refined EcoBoost engines, but they benefited from early refinements that worked out many of the initial kinks. In 2018, Ford had already worked out a lot of the quirks, so these years are a sweet spot for dependable performance when choosing an F-150. I like the Fords from these years because most of the major growing pains are behind them, yet they're recent enough to give you good technology, usable fuel economy, and solid towing capacity. Many of my customers agree that by 2019-2020, the 10R80 transmission had become more settled, with fewer clunks, less hesitation, and fewer warranty repairs. Sure, there are still some complaints, and no vehicle is perfect. You might have to deal with hard shifts or jerky behavior without consistent fluid maintenance. A few 2018 F-150s also had a shift linkage or transmission-related recalls. But you also get gutsy engines, strong towing, and a well-rounded option within these model years. It might not be easy to buy a brand new F-150, but you can get a quality used F-150 for much less than the current year's pricing, yet with the benefits of a recent design. So, if I were buying a used F-150 today, I'd strongly lean toward a 2018 to 2020 model. Although I have a soft spot for the 2013-2014 F-150s. I also lean toward the 2013-2014 F-150 models. These are the sweet spot of the 12th generation F-150, offering dependable powertrains, solid construction, and fewer of the later generation growing pains. Under the hood, the 5.0-liter Coyote V8 is a standout. It's durable, and many of these trucks have crossed well past 200,000 miles with good maintenance. The 2013-2014 F-150 models aren't perfect, and the early Coyote engines suffer from timing chain tensioner issues. I also noticed the drop valve problem in some 2013 and 2014 F-150s, which led to low compression in a cylinder. But most of these issues can be avoided or managed if you're checking compression, maintaining your truck regularly, and verifying repairs. The 2013 and 2014 F-150s are rated highly when it comes to reliability. As long as you focus on maintenance, you can use the F-150 for a long time. Many of my customers using this truck have hit 200,000 miles already with no surprises. When evaluating the 2013-2014 F-150s, always check for coolant leaks, and note that some trucks with the 6-speed automatic have had downshift issues. There was even a major recall in 2014 for some trucks because of this. Cost-wise, picking a 2013-2014 F-150 gives you very modern V8 power at a fraction of what newer F-150s go for. These still have strong frames, good towing capacity, and are cheaper to insure and maintain than the newest models. Ensure you do your homework before purchasing the 2013-2014 F-150 models. I also recommend the 2001 through 2003 F-150 models for anyone who wants a Ford truck that's simple, rugged, and built to last. These trucks don't have all the bells and whistles of the newer models, but that's actually what makes them more appealing. They are easy to work on and are powered by one of Ford's more dependable engines. Under the hood, most of these years came with the 4.6-liter 2-valve V8, which is pretty durable. They can also last way past 200,000 miles, as long as they are properly maintained. Since they have a modular layout, it is easy to make basic repairs like spark plugs, coils, and injectors, all without fancy tools. But there are still some common issues to watch out for, like timing chain tensioner wear, occasional oil leaks from valve cover gaskets or the oil pan, and potential spark plug blowouts. The 4.6 V8 had a strong reputation too and can work in demanding high-mileage scenarios. On the flip side, before you buy any used F-150s, you should pay attention to potential spark plug thread damage. Ensure the intake manifold hasn't cracked and watch for oil leaks. These trucks might not be as powerful or efficient as newer F-150s, but they are easy to maintain for a long time. Since they're older models, they are much cheaper than newer models, but they have a proven powertrain. You won't get the latest infotainment or advanced safety technology, but with the right care, they will last a long time. Just make sure you verify mileage, inspect for known issues, and promptly replace any worn seals or gaskets. A pretty underrated F-150 that you can consider is the 2009 model year with the 4.6-liter V8 engine. The 4.6-liter modular V8 in 2009 is a mature, well-known engine. It's not the most powerful V8 in Ford's lineup, but it's reliable when taken care of. Mechanically, it can last a long time, and I've found that with proper maintenance, these engines regularly go over 200,000 miles. But with this engine, there are some factors to pay attention to, like timing chain tensioner wear, which can cause a rattling noise. Oil leaks are also common, and some F-150 owners from this era have dealt with misfires due to worn ignition components or spark plugs. The 2009 F-150 comes with a 6-speed automatic transmission, but before you purchase it, you should perform a transmission test drive and fluid check. Some owners have dealt with hard downshifts, especially when under load or while towing, so you should pay attention to maintenance. Still, the 2009 F-150 model with the 4.6-liter is cheap to maintain and has parts readily available. It's more affordable compared to newer trucks, and you don't have to pay for the newest technology or aluminum body premium. You're getting a V8 that is mechanically straightforward and supported with a large aftermarket and parts supply. If you're finding this helpful, hit that like button. It helps the channel a lot. The worst F-150 model years. Now that I've told you some of the Ford F-150 models that I would buy as an experienced Ford mechanic, it's only right that I tell you some of the worst model years that I definitely wouldn't recommend. The 2010 Ford F-150 is a red flag, especially if the truck has the 5.4-liter 3-valve V8. That engine was in its final production run, and a lot of its notorious problems still linger. One of the biggest issues is with the variable cam timing (VCT) system, as the cam phasers often rattle or fail. The timing chain tensioners can also wear out, leading to loose chains or misalignment. Another problem with the 2010 F-150 is the potential for low oil pressure and sludge, which can starve hydraulically driven phasers of proper lubrication. I also have noticed some of the 2010 models have broken or difficult to remove spark plugs, and coil failures become more common as the vehicle ages. Some of my customers have said that they have had to replace their timing chain components 3 times, while others said that they constantly heard a persistent shake and phaser knock. Some of these engines suffer from oil leaks due to worn gaskets or bad seals, and that makes the phaser problems even worse. I've also seen some customers complain about the build quality of the 2010 F-150. I've had to fix things like door handle features, brake master cylinder trouble, and even rear window leaks. These might seem small, but they add up pretty quickly when dealing with a high-stress powertrain. So if you buy the 2010 model, even if it's cheap at first, you might have to spend thousands of dollars to repair phasers, tensioners, or spark plugs. While it might be tempting to snag a brand new generation F-150, the 2021 model comes with a lot of growing pain issues that I've seen pop up again and again in the shop. First off, the 2021 F-150 has electrical gremlins. I've seen a lot of complaints about regular touchscreen freezes, system reboots, and weird battery drain when the truck is parked. Even worse, some 2021s were recalled because a software bug in the powertrain control module falsely triggered low transmission fluid pressure warnings. This can cause the transmission to shift into neutral. Then there's the infotainment system. Ford launched the latest sync system in this generation with some bugs. Sometimes the screen goes black when shifting into reverse, so your rear-view camera could suddenly stop working. On top of that, the parking brake wiring harness can chafe against the rear axle housing, affecting the brake system. Mechanically, early owners of the PowerBoost hybrid version have seen several issues like stalling, hesitation, or illuminated check engine lights due to electronic throttle or poor battery management. One of my customers had their truck in the shop for 35 days and had to return to the dealer multiple times for faulty module repairs. Even if you pay used truck prices and get an F-150, you'll probably spend extra time and money at the dealer for software updates, wiring harness replacements, and module swaps. If you're shopping for a used vehicle to save money, a 2021 F-150 could wipe out all the savings. What about 2023 Plus models? As for the 2023 through 2025 F-150s, they're looking pretty promising. Ford has dialed in better quality control compared to the rougher early years of the redesign, and some of the major kinks have been worked out. The hybrid PowerBoost system feels more stable, especially if you're using it for work or daily driving. It's still early for true long-term reliability data. Mechanically, you're getting the benefit of newer generation engines. Many of these models come with the modern 3.5-liter EcoBoost, the 5.0-liter V8, and the hybrid system, all paired with the 10-speed automatic transmission. Ford also has more tuning experience, and with proper maintenance, they have the potential to last for many years and high miles. But these models are still new. The 2023 F-150 hybrid has some reliability concerns, especially around the powertrain and electrical accessories. I've seen some customers complain about transmission issues, infotainment glitches, and hybrid battery worries. There's also a recent NHTSA safety recall on 2023 through 2025 F-150s because the rear axle hubs on models with the heavy-duty 9.75-inch axle may fracture, leading to a rollaway risk. This is something you definitely have to check out before choosing any of these models. The build quality isn't perfect yet. Some owners have complained about drivetrain vibration, water leaks, and misaligned panels. If I were buying a recent Ford F-150 right now, I would consider a well-maintained 2023 through 2025 F-150, especially if I wanted a modern truck that can last for a long time. But I would only choose it if it has a good service record and if the recalls have been addressed. And I don't mind hybrid or electronic systems. These new Fords will be more expensive than older used F-150s, and if you buy one, you need to focus on maintenance. F-150 engines. My Ford F-150 buyer's guide won't be complete without looking at some of the best engines you can get in your F-150 truck. Some of these engines might be a good choice, while others have a lot of problems, so it's best to do research before choosing an engine. The 5.0-liter Coyote V8 is considered one of the best F-150 engines, a respected and reliable option for Ford. I've seen many of them last well past 200,000 miles when treated right. It delivers strong, naturally aspirated V8 power without any turbo complexity or risk. The 5.0-liter Coyote V8 engine has some faults, like potentially worn variable cam timing solenoids, which can cause a rattling engine sound or a check engine light. Early generations especially had timing chain tensioner wear, creating noise, and if ignored, it could lead to serious internal damage. Water pump and coolant leaks are another common issue with the Coyote V8. If you've been using it for a long time, you might also see intake manifold runner problems or valve train noise, especially if valve springs have been stressed. Oil leaks are fairly common too. Although no engine is perfect, the 5.0-liter Coyote V8 is still one of the best F-150 engines. The key to getting the most out of a Coyote is maintenance. Focus on regular, high-quality synthetic oil changes, catch the VCT tick early, and keep an eye out for coolant issues. If you skip those, you might end up with expensive repairs. For your Ford F-150, you can also consider the 3.5-liter EcoBoost. This is a beast of an engine, but the reliability depends a lot on which generation you're going for. From my 20 years as a Ford mechanic, I strongly avoid the Gen 1 engines, made between 2011 and 2016. These early EcoBoosts are notorious for timing chain stretch, worn tensioners, cam phaser rattle, and sometimes serious internal wear if the oil wasn't changed regularly. You'll also see issues like intercooler condensation, especially in humid climates, which can cause misfires or hesitation when accelerating. In some of these engines, intake valve carbon buildup is another problem. because the direct injection doesn't wash the valves clean. On the other hand, you can go for the Gen 2 or Gen 3 versions of the 3.5-liter EcoBoost engines. Ford made significant improvements with beefier timing chains, updated guides, and better phasers. Some trucks still get phaser rattle, but I have found that the newer phasers are more reliable. With the newer design, carbon buildup is less of an issue because later designs introduced additional fuel injectors for better cleaning of the intake valves, so the carbon issues are much reduced. But maintenance history for a 3.5 EcoBoost is everything. If you skip oil changes or run sketchy additives, the timing chain and turbo health will suffer. I also recommend the 2.7-liter EcoBoost as an option for your F-150 if you want high performance. This engine is surprisingly durable and punchy, especially for a smaller displacement turbo engine. From my years working on Fords, I've seen plenty of these rack up miles and provide impressive torque without being overly finicky. But the 2.7 isn't perfect. One of the most common issues is with the oil pan, as the early versions used a plastic component. Over time, the RTV seal between it and the engine block can fail, causing oil to seep out. The plastic sometimes warps under heat, and there might be carbon buildup on the intake valves, which leads to misfires, rough idle, and reduced performance. Oil consumption is another concern. In certain earlier engines, valve guide problems can let oil be burned in the combustion chamber, which means more frequent top-ups. The engine is great, but only if you pay attention to maintenance. If not, you might be like one of my customers who burned through almost 3 quarts of oil between changes. If you're looking for a modern F-150 engine that's both powerful and efficient, the 3.5-liter EcoBoost Power Boost Hybrid is also one of my top picks. It combines the strong turbocharged 3.5 EcoBoost V6 with an electric motor to deliver excellent torque and smooth power delivery. And this is especially useful when towing or driving in stop and go. But with my 20 years of experience as a Ford mechanic, I know the hybrid system adds complexity. There have been reports of coolant leaks around the exhaust heat exchanger. There are also some engine rough idle issues tied to calibration, but Ford has largely fixed this with a software update. On the electrical side, early Power Boost owners also had to deal with wrench light warnings pointing to battery isolators or wiring problems. I also have noticed some battery management quirks and 12-volt battery parasitic drain issues. But I love this powertrain because it allows for seamless switching between electric and gas and offers strong fuel economy. If it's maintained, it can last for a long time. If you choose this engine for your F-150, you'll pay more up front than for the standard EcoBoost or V8, but the potential fuel savings or towing efficiency might help offset that. Tips for buying a Ford F-150. With all that I've said, I'll drop some tips for you to keep in mind when buying a Ford F-150 so you don't get swindled. When you're buying an F-150, new or used, it really comes down to doing your homework and not letting anyone rush you. If you're looking at used trucks, a Ford dealer is the safest bet, especially if it's certified pre-owned. At least you know the truck had to pass Ford's inspection. But trust me, after all my years working on Fords, I've seen many dealer-inspected trucks with problems hidden under a warm engine. That's why I always tell people to never let the seller warm up the truck before you arrive. A cold start will reveal anything, like a timing chain rattle, lifter noise, or turbo whistle. When you're test driving, don't just jump on the first XLT or Lariat, but drive a few trims and carefully choose the features you want. Maintenance history is everything, too. EcoBoost engines react badly to skipped oil changes, and sludge can build up fast. So it's best to get a $70 oil change now rather than waiting for a $3,500 timing job. And if you're into performance mods, remember this: bolt-ons don't make real power unless the truck is tuned. Otherwise, the computer will just pull everything back to stock levels. With everything I've talked about, you know the best and worst F-150 models to go for. When buying one, take your time and don't ignore the little signs. That way you can buy an F-150 that'll go the distance. If you want more real advice for Ford owners, make sure to subscribe. And check out my next video where I share how to keep your Ford's interior looking brand new for years.